Hello once again, this is James Roughton, and welcome to my Safety Culture series. In my last video, I discussed what to expect as a new management system is being developed. In today's session, I want to discuss some basic considerations for measuring the management system. The reality of it is that safety measurement has been a major downfall in safety for many years because many managers do not understand the intended measurements and how to apply them to specific activities. To understand what gets accomplished, you must first measure performance. This is an important step in understanding individual accountability. Basically, if you measure more proactive activities, you have a better chance of reducing your near misses, your lost producing events, human error, work errors, and so forth. This is because when there's more involvement in any activities, whether it's safety or quality, productivity, whatever it may be, you can get a lot more accomplished by having a great level of participation in the process. Again, according to Petersen, for the line manager, to measure is to motivate. I encourage you to think about this statement for a few seconds. Petersen believed, as many safety professionals do, that expresses a profound truth, at least in terms of the safety performance of top management. Everyone only reacts to measures that are used to provide feedback on performance, that is, performance measurement, where there are typically incentives involved. They proceed with tasks to be important only when management thinks it's worth measuring. This is typical in any organization. Once you understand the importance of performance measurement in obtaining good performance, is when we hit our biggest obstacle. The question that we should ask ourselves, do our measurements add value to the process? And once we answer this question, the next question is, what should be measured? Should we measure failure that is demonstrated by incident rates that have occurred in the past? Of course, we know these measures as OSHA incident rates. For example, total case incident rate, or TCIR, or in some cases, OSHA incident rate, OIR, and many other terms that are used, which historically have been used and in many cases still are being used to measure safety performance. If this is a good measure, the question now becomes, what level of failure should we measure? Think about it this way. In many cases, supervision can do nothing related to safety for years and have no injuries. This can be just pure luck on their part. Does this mean that their employees are not taking risks to perform their job? This reminds me of the book Hope is Not a Strategy by Rick Page. The fact of the matter is that using incident rates only to measure safety performance is reinforcing the wrong performance level. The question is, what would be a better way to measure safety performance? If you take a look at performance measurement, you will find that you really need different levels of measurement for different levels of the organization, for different functions, and for different types of management styles. What is a good measurement for one supervisor or manager of 10 individuals may not be a good measure for another, much less for a plant manager of one plant and a general manager of several plants with many employees. The challenge to safety measurements include finding the right criteria that can be used to measure safety performance for all individuals, including employees, supervisors, middle management, top management, and the organization. Here's a suggested starting point. Benchmark with successful organizations. Look for measurements that fit your organization. Reduce the efforts spent on measuring lagging indicators such as OSHA incident rates. Increase your focus on leading indicators. Looking for more positive proactive activities to capture safety efforts. And then once you've accomplished all that, expand your efforts to find some solid measurements that fit your organization. And before I conclude this video, I briefly discussed some basic considerations for measuring the safety management system. And the concept, in order to understand what gets accomplished, you must measure performance. And a suggested starting point to define your safety management system. Thank you for listening to this video. I wish you continued success in your journey. For more details, visit my website, safetycultureplus.com, and follow me on YouTube to ensure that you get the latest videos.